Welcome.
Thank you very much.
The question we have for everybody, Mike, what is the innovation? What have you done with Allrecipes particularly, and what difference is it making?
Well, we reverse engineered it and launched a magazine after the website. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
So it's reverse publishing.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Let's hear all about it.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you to Cobus and the team at FIPP for the opportunity to be here today and to share some insights about Meredith and the Allrecipes brand. It's interesting to be at the tail end of this Congress. You start to get a feel for the flavor of the event, and we know each of these events is different. Who can forget Moscow 4 years ago? And Rome is so beautiful just 2 years ago. I had no idea that country western was such a big thing in Canada. And I had no idea how many talented bull riders we have in the industry. So for those of you who are less familiar with Meredith, I want to spend just a few moments, a brief overview, help you understand how we came to acquire Allrecipes and the position of importance that it holds for us strategically. Our national media brands include Better Homes and Gardens, Parents, and Shape, reach 100 million unduplicated women every month, and our digital activities generate about 70 million unique monthly visitors. We have a local broadcast television business as well that reaches about 11% of US households through stations that are located in mostly fast-growing cities. The Meredith National Media Group is the largest media group that's focused on women, reaching consumers across all of their important life stages as an adult. Our brands provide inspiration and informational content beginning with early adulthood and continuing through the major events in her life related to her family, her home, and her own self-development. We lead the market in the categories of parenthood, anchored by Parents and Family Fun, in home through Better Homes and Gardens, and in food through Allrecipes. 2015 marks the 20th anniversary for Meredith Digital. We started in 1995 with our agriculture brand, agriculture.com. And our digital focus really sharpened between 2008 and 2012 when we began launching tablet editions, mobile apps, and the Meredith Video Network. Of course, that's the year that we bought Allrecipes as well. More recently, we've continued to add to that digital footprint through the additions of Shape and Martha Stewart, and we entered the wedding category by acquiring a digital business called My Wedding. But I want to focus now on early 2012 and set the stage for the conversation about Allrecipes today. So here's a chart showing the top sources that consumers would turn to in 2012 for information about food. At this point, online had surpassed magazines and books, which had been at the top for decades. Food was Meredith's largest advertising category. Food had the biggest editorial focus for the company. We had the leading position in food-focused magazines, and we had the #1 best-selling cookbook in the world, the Better Homes and Gardens Red Plaid Cookbook. The problem was, we were not #1 in digital food, which you can see the chart on the left. We weren't in the top 10, and we were barely in the top 20. We had plenty of competence in digital, as you can see by the chart at right. These are the players in the women's lifestyle category. Of course, we wanted more scale. Fortunately, in 2012, the Allrecipes brand came available for sale. The combination of Allrecipes with the rest of our business was transformative. It doubled our traffic, it doubled our digital advertising revenues, and it vaulted our digital food position to #1. And it made the Meredith Women's Network #3. You can see the inflection of Allrecipes on our audience composition on this chart. Magazine in blue at the bottom, online desktop in orange in the middle, and mobile more recently in gray at the top. Note that Meredith has experienced audience growth across all of our platforms, so even with the development of digital, we've done it without cannibalizing our print activities. And for us, seeing this strong consumer engagement across platforms really meant that the Allrecipes brand had to be a multi-platform brand as well. Now, the impact on our advertising revenue has been equally positive. Continued strong growth in digital advertising is offsetting print declines. The bar at left shows our National Media Group advertising revenues in 2011, and the bar at right shows Wall Street consensus for our current fiscal year, with about 25% coming from digital, and Allrecipes is a major component of that. So hopefully that summary gives you a sense for the transformative effect that Allrecipes had for Meredith as a whole, and its continuing strategic importance to us. But owning Allrecipes has been transformative for Allrecipes as well. When we bought it, it was a thriving brand on one platform, desktop, and it was then the largest recipe website in the world. It was based in Seattle, which was a great place for the technical side of it, with great talent pools from companies like Microsoft and Amazon. But its advertising sales operation was also based in Seattle, so very far away from the decision makers in New York and Los Angeles. 25% of its users back then were coming to the site from their mobile phones, but it had no mobile optimized site. So today, Allrecipes is a thriving brand under Meredith's ownership across platforms. It remains the largest website in the world. Its Dinner Spinner mobile app, at approximately 25 million downloads, is also the most popular app for food in the world. We all know the importance of mobile today. We've heard great things about the mobile category during this Congress. Today, mobile accounts for 50% of Allrecipes traffic. We've got thousands of video assets for the brand. We have a collection of very passionate Allrecipes users we call the Allrecipes All-Stars, and they're used for marketing research and events and general community influence. Very strong in social, and as I mentioned to start this, we most recently launched a print magazine. So looking ahead, we're very focused on three things. First, continuing to strengthen the brand across the platforms. Second, continuing to improve the core functionality of the brand, make it a great experience for consumers and to deliver great results for our advertising clients. And then third, we want to continue to expanding it internationally. So at Meredith, we tend to look at media platforms as being distinctive from one another. And we see digital as a platform that's very, very good at helping you as the consumer do something you've already decided to do, whether that's find a great used car in your community or watch a video on how to saute. The print medium is quite good at inspiration. We thought Allrecipes would work in print as a more inspirational experience, and in the summer of 2013, tested the brand on one of our special interest food titles. We just simply removed the brand from the cover and put the Allrecipes brand on it. And in the markets where we did that, it sold 4 times more copies than the prior brand. Really strong consumer recognition that gave us confidence to try a more meaningful test. So we created a skinny version of what would become a full-fledged magazine, and we polybagged it with 10 million of our magazine subscriptions and put it in the mail to give consumers a chance to actually feel the magazine and flip through it. Much deeper experience than simply sending maybe a blow-in flyer or something much smaller. It also, from an accounting standpoint, because we created a bigger magazine, we were able to count that test issue as one copy of the subscriber's subscription. So we were able to get that to help offset the cost of the test. We received in the first 3 weeks cash orders for 450,000 subscriptions. And we're able to launch the magazine later that year in time for the holidays. So despite media platforms being different, we all know that they can be quite complementary. And in the case of Allrecipes, we have a website that's generating lots of data in real time. And our magazine team has the advantage of being armed with this data to help them inform their content. For example, the magazine teams wanted to run a story about cakes in time for Easter and Mother's Day. Data from the .com site helped them pick which types of cake to feature. Conversely, the team had been toying with a fish story, but once they dug into the data, realized that interest in shrimp at the time was a lot stronger, so they changed the focus of their story. But of course, the magazine can't simply be a copy of this site. Consumers wouldn't pay for that when they can get it for free online. So the .com site has to stay focused on SEO and on utility and helping consumers actually plan their meals and cook dinner. The magazine has a lot more freedom and can branch out lifestyle information, cooking tutorials, shopping ideas, profiles on the food industry, investigate trends. It's really enhancing and rounding out the brand. And part of the value for consumers, of course, as everyone in this room knows, is the content curation function that the editors play. So big data is great in theory, but if you're a busy parent who has 2 hours to find something to put on the table for dinner, it takes a while to sift through 7,000 search results for chicken. So our editors are able to click through every one of those recipe ideas and serve you up the best in the magazine. So far, the print magazine is making gains. As I mentioned, it started about 18 months ago at 500,000 circulation, and today rate base is at 1.3 million. So while we're excited about where the Allrecipes brand is today, our teams are busy writing the next chapter. Millennials in the US are no longer the next generation, they're the now generation. And boomers are aging out of the economy, replaced by millennials, and we want to make sure that the Allrecipes experience aligns with their interests and expectations. We also know that millennials have a different notion of how they want to hear from their brands. So rather than tell you about the new vision for Allrecipes that launched last month, we call it .next, I thought it would be better to show you a brief video.
Jen has had a long day, and boy is she glad to be home. Her life is hectic, but if there's one thing she can be sure of, it's that tonight's dinner is under control. With the help of the new Allrecipes, she's got a surefire plan for exactly what she's going to make. But how did she do it? How did she find the time to put in a full day's work, pick up the kids from soccer practice, swing by the store, and still make it home with everything she needs for dinner? Well, let me show you. While Jen eats breakfast, she scans through her feed on Allrecipes. Her friend Sabrina made a vegetarian stir-fry last night. Her favorite pasta brand has a suggestion for make-ahead lasagna. And here's a photo of something that her mom made. Her friend Julie made enchiladas last night and gave it 5 stars. That sounds perfect for tonight. Later, Jen is hard at work, but in the back of her mind, you know she's thinking about those enchiladas she'll be making tonight. Julie just commented on her enchiladas post. She recommends green enchilada sauce instead of red in this recipe. Good to know. Her workday finally over, Jen makes a break for it. But before she goes, she remembers she needs to stop at the store on her way home, and she needs a game plan first. Allrecipes has already compiled a grocery list for her, based on the recipe she chose. And with the flip of a switch, it even lets her know which items on her list are on sale at her favorite grocery store. That way, once she gets to the store, she knows exactly which brands to choose, making sure she never misses out on the best deals. Back in the kitchen, Jen gets cooking. With the recipe in cook mode, she has video, tips, and reviews to guide her step by step and make preparing this dish a snap. Jen knows her family will love this dish. Not only did it earn a 4.5-star rating from 1,500 other moms with picky kids of their own, but she trusts her friend Julie's opinion. If it's Julie approved, it's gotta be good. Well, those enchiladas were a hit. 5 stars for this one. With dinner done, it's time to celebrate her success. She'll let Julie know she made the recipe. By telling the world I made it, the recipe is added to her Cooks page, and she lets her followers, and even her Facebook friends, share in her success. And of course, she'll post some of these pictures. Unfortunately, Allrecipes does not yet help with cleanup. But look, she's getting likes already. Jen has always used Allrecipes to find recipe inspiration. But now, it also helps her plan, shop, cook, and celebrate her food passions and successes with her network. Allrecipes is not only the world's largest digital food brand, it's also now a social network. Join us, along with our 40 million family-focused, passionate home cooks, as we embark on this journey to transform the digital food landscape, one home cook at a time.
So the US team is transforming Allrecipes from a food-focused digital community to a food-focused social network. And this new experience puts the cook at the center. But beyond the US, we're looking for growth too. Today, Allrecipes is a localized experience in 23 countries across 18 sites. We're getting about 35 million unique visitors a month globally, easily outpacing our nearest rival. We're the largest site here in Canada and in Mexico, and number 2 in the Netherlands and in Australia. We're open to all kinds of partnerships. Typically, Allrecipes runs the back-end hardware and IT systems from Seattle. Content comes from the local user base and is managed by editors who live in Seattle, but who are native to the country site that they manage. We've got deep insights into how consumers are cooking, and with this can enable advertiser brands to connect with consumers throughout their path to purchase with very relevant information, suggestions, and product solutions. What we need from a partner is advertising sales and local in-market promotion. So thank you for your time today, and I look forward to answering any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mark. Right, come join me. Any questions? I'm sure there are going to be plenty right here in the foreground.
Okay.
And there's another one there, I believe. No? Okay, go.
Thank you very much. How many subscriptions did you say you sold online to the print magazine of our Allrecipe?
We initially got orders for 450,000, and we're at 1.3 million today, rate base.
Bravo for that.
And what did you do? I mean, was it the same technique? It was just incremental growth, or did you change?
Well, we're able
the
to
offering?
tap into, so food's a big deal at Meredith. As I mentioned, it's our largest editorial focus, and we've got a lot of readers and customers who are passionate about food. And what I think we tapped into is that the Allrecipes brand was very powerful, and there was consumer acceptance for that brand in a print format.
I want to pick your brain about the business model. But before that, let's talk about the team and the editorial, because obviously Meredith, you have a phenomenal, as you say, expertise when it comes to culinary journalism. And here you go and you buy the leading website that obviously must have had its own team, but they were perhaps much more digital savvy. How was it? Did one team eat the other? How did the blending of the two teams happen?
We're very nice people in Iowa. We're very collegial.
Maybe not
no,
in Seattle.
I think that the lesser known element to Allrecipes is that it really is a tech company first and foremost. And search engine optimization, we haven't spent any money on search engine marketing, and nor did they under their prior owners. They're very, very good at SEO, and their team watches very closely search queries, and then the editors publish content against those search queries. So we know when things like tilapia are trending in the Southwest, or it gets colder and maybe chicken noodle soup is more popular in Canada, and they're publishing recipes against those search queries. So from an editorial standpoint, I don't think that they would really see themselves as competitive against another brand. They're happy, frankly, to be part of a much bigger editorial function.
Anybody else wants to come in? Right now.
Hi. Could you talk a little bit about the digital revenue streams? For instance, the grocery store specials. Is that a marketing deal or a paid placement deal that you have?
So it's fairly new to us, and I think it's probably too early to talk about revenue that's generated from the shopper marketing tool. But primarily, the revenue that we're seeing is various forms of advertising. There's a very small component of consumer paid. There's a Recipes Pro function with Allrecipes, but I wouldn't say it's material to the site.
And native advertising, is that what you mean by consumer paid? What do you mean?
Oh,
how much?
No.
So
like
is Kraft doing a recipe for Philadelphia cheese spread? And how much branded native content is that in your revenue mix?
Also very young to us.
Very young to you.
Yeah, so Meredith, about 6 months ago, acquired a company called Selectable Media, specifically to add native advertising across our sites. They also do gating, where I've heard other people mention it, you may, as a consumer, watch a long-form ad or take part in a survey in exchange for having access to the content. What I meant by consumer paid is there's an element of the site that has a little bit more functionality to it for you as a consumer if you're willing to pay for it. But quite frankly, we've not had enough success that I would stand up here and tell you all that it's great.
I'm surprised you're not going full on with native advertising, because everywhere else with cooking magazines is a huge percentage of their revenue already. The display is pretty much gone, and all the food manufacturers are there pushing cooking experiences that are obviously brought to you by either Nestle or Kraft or one of the actual products selling at the supermarket. So why not? Why are you so slow with it?
Well, we are today. I think there was some hesitancy that it may interfere with the brand experience too much. But I think we're growing more comfortable with that.
Okay. Anybody else? Before we let you go, let me ask you about reverse publishing, because this was a no-brainer for you to eventually launch a print product with it, because obviously you had such a huge success from the very beginning and such a huge audience. And as they tend to say, if you just 3% of any online global audience would eventually want to have a product that they would pay for, including a printed magazines. But within Meredith, at what point do you decide that a digital adventure or experience or site that is experimental should go to print?
I don't know that I know the answer to that. We thought that, I guess the belief at Meredith, and I'm sure that this is a belief shared by most people in this room, is that true brands have a home in every media platform, but it may exist a little bit differently. So we would have maybe half a dozen of what we would consider truly big brands at Meredith, and we're just working to populate them across these platforms.
Right. And on that note, Mike, we'll leave it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.